Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of worry, stress, or tension to start to leave your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in, allow that breath to be deeper than it normally would. Get a sense that you're breathing in a wonderful feeling of resourcefulness and exhaling more and more of that tension. That's it. Get a sense that the muscles around your neck and your throat are really starting to relax. I want you to imagine a feeling of intense relaxation is spreading from the top of your head, down the back of your head, and around your neck. Finding it easier to swallow, loosening the muscles in the jaw, breathing in deeper, in and out of the nose, and release that tension around the neck. That's it. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a nerve. A nerve that goes from the spinal cord up the neck to the base of the skull. I want you to get a sense that these nerves that link the spinal cord all the way up to your head, your jaw, your face, carry information about pain and threats. And while your jaw is tense and your neck is tense and your shoulders are tense, what if that was to restrict the flow of information? I want you to get a sense that those nerves might underreact or overreact. So as you breathe in and breathe out, just get a sense that those nerves some would call them the ganglia, just starting to release and relax, recalibrating, giving you a sense of balance, calm and relaxation there around your neck, your back, your jaw, the back of your head. That's it. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a house you used to live in when you were a teenager. And I want you to imagine this house is empty. No one's there. And I want you to wander around this house, around the lounge. Maybe you can remember pictures on the wall, the location of sofas. Remember how things were in that home at that age. As you walk around, just get a feeling of deep relaxation. Maybe even nostalgia, like you're going back in time. And you get this feeling, a wonderful feeling that something was created here at this point in time that maybe was craving drama, maybe trying to keep you safe. But I want you to find a sofa there in this house that looks so relaxing, and I want you to imagine just resting on that sofa, breathing in and breathing out, and I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, and you will imagine feeling so deeply relaxed that you would fall asleep there on that sofa. Starting to count 10, eyelids feeling heavier, more and more relaxed around the eyes. 9, any muscles in the forehead, just releasing any feelings of tension, stress, or worry. Keep breathing in and breathing out as 8, that feeling of relaxation goes from the top of your head all the way down your scalp to the back of your neck. 7, just feeling like tension in your jaw, neck, shoulders, really releasing, enabling that ganglion nerve to work in an optimal way. 6, feeling that relaxation spread down your arms to the tips of your fingers. Arms feeling limp, loose and light. That's it. And then 5, as you breathe in, just imagine your internal organs are starting to relax. Lungs, stomach, heart, gut, all relaxing, enabling you to breathe even deeper than you were before. So deeply relaxed. That's it. And then 4, going into your gut, releasing any feelings of anxiety. That's it. 3, going down into your legs. Legs feeling limp, loose, and perhaps heavy or light. That's it. Deeper relaxed. 2, going into the calf muscles all the way into the feet. And I want you to imagine what it would be like to fall asleep there on that sofa in that old house you used to live way back when you were a teenager. Just enable yourself to fall asleep on that sofa. That's it. 1 and then 0. Releasing any tension, falling asleep there on that sofa. And then I want you to allow a part of your subconscious mind that used to be very confident, used to feel in control, used to feel resourceful. Allow your conscious mind to be fast asleep there on that sofa, but allow a different part, a strong, confident part, to leave that body. See yourself lying there on a sofa, maybe pick up your wrist. See that arm being limp, loose, heavy, let it drop down back into that sofa. And I want you to now take the role of this strong, confident part. And I want you to walk to a bedroom. Your bedroom, perhaps when you were 15 or 16 years old. And inside this bedroom is going to be a part of your subconscious mind that feels like it's making things worse. When there's a problem, they amplify that problem. If you have an idea for something that could work really well, they're coming up with reasons why it will fail. They're the naysayer, the merchant of doom and gloom. And if you accept that behind that door of that bedroom is going to be this part, the part that you deem responsible for making things worse, just let me know by nodding your head. I want you to knock on the door and let them know that you're going to walk in 5 seconds. Not for any trouble, just for a conversation. I'll count down from 5 to 1 and you will slowly, politely, respectfully open the door and walk inside. 5, putting your hand on the handle. 4, turning the handle. 3, starting to open that door. 2, walking through the door. 1, closing the door behind you. And 0, just imagine yourself in that room. And I want you to see perhaps someone that looks like you, but not necessarily. That is maybe 15, 16, 17 years old. And if you can see them in that room, just let me know by nodding your head. That's it. I want you to say hello to that part in a friendly way. And maybe they're anxious, nervous perhaps. But in a genuine, positive way, I want you to smile. And I want you to ask how they are. And I want you to ask if it's okay to talk, and if they're okay to have a conversation, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to thank them. I want you to thank them for what you perceive could be a positive intention. I want you to tell them that a lot of people think that they are a troublemaker, malicious, problematic, making things worse. But I want you to communicate to them that you feel like they have something positive to offer, that maybe they're trying to do something to help. And I want you to ask them if they are doing something that is positive or helpful in some way. And if they feel like they're trying to do something positive, just let me know by nodding your head. Okay. I want you to ask if they're enjoying what's happening, if they're being entertained by what's happening, the problems, the drama that's being caused. I want you to ask them what their intention is. Do they know? Sometimes teenagers get bored. They find something that they do and they keep doing it. And maybe you can remember when you were a teenager. Maybe you were doing scribbles in textbooks, not for a particular reason. You weren't trying to cause damage, but sometimes you just found yourself doing things that you didn't know why you did them, but you did, and you got into habits, and it just was easier to keep doing what you were doing. And I want you to ask this part if they just got into a habit of doing something and saying things that there's no real rhyme or reason to it, but they've just got into that habit, that rut. And if that's true, just let me know by nodding your head. Yeah. I want you to imagine what would happen if a child was on a beach, and on that beach they found pebbles, and maybe someone else older was on that beach drinking beer. And I want you to imagine that as a teenager, an idea might pop into your head to throw stones at those beer bottles to see if you can smash them, make them crash. And it would be satisfying to throw the pebbles at the bottles, almost like target practice. But I want you to imagine that if you were doing that just for fun, for weeks and weeks, and then one day there was a knock at the door, and I want you to imagine there's a police officer there, and the police officer speaks to the teenager and asks them, are you the one responsible for smashing those bottles on the beach? And maybe that teenager says, yeah, what's the problem? Just something I was doing, throwing stones at bottles. And then imagine the police officer showing them pictures of a child with glass deeply embedded into their feet. Maybe a picture of a dog that had to have one of its paws amputated because they couldn't walk again. I want you to get a sense that sometimes serious consequences can come from what's perceived to be harmless actions that you don't think too much about. And I want you to ask that teenage part there in the bedroom if that makes sense. Maybe they can relate in some way. And then I want you to, almost like you can stream your memories and your thoughts of these panic attacks that you've been having, severe anxiety, the toll that it's had on you emotionally, physically, the consequences had on you and your family, on your work. Just imagine streaming all those consequences, just like the police officer showing the pictures of the injured children and animals. I want you to imagine sharing the evidence of the consequences of this inflammatory thoughts. And maybe the teenager being shown the injured children and animals would be shocked, immediately remorseful. Because I don't think this part realizes all of the consequences that are happening based on the exaggerations, the naysaying, the negativity. One of the key phrases of a teenager to say is, yeah, whatever. Nothing matters. No big deal. But sometimes there is a big deal. Sometimes there is a big consequences linked to what's perceived to be harmless words and harmless thoughts. And if this teenage part looks shocked in some way, unaware of the gravity of the consequences, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to ask this part if, now that it's aware of the consequences of the behaviors, that it would be willing to make a change. I want you to flash back to that imaginary scene where the police officer is talking to that teenager that has accidentally been causing damage to children and animals. And the police officer says, you need to put this right. And imagine the police officer taking that teenager to the beach, and that teenager has to pick up every bit of glass for two reasons: to prevent further injury, but to ensure the idea of breaking more glass in the future doesn't happen. And I want you to ask that teenager in that room what the equivalent would be of picking up all that glass. And if it has an idea, just let me know by nodding your head. I want you to ask this part in the same way that you streamed memories and thoughts from your mind to that part. Imagine it happening the other way around. That this teenage part is streaming the ideas, what they're going to do to make things right, to clean up their mess, to start being part of the solution rather than part of the problem. And if you feel there are good ideas there, things that would help, things that mean that when there's issues in the future, it feels more manageable, just let me know by nodding your head. I want you to tell this teenage part that they're forgiven. And they're forgiven for one reason, and one reason only. They didn't know the consequences of their actions. It would be difficult to be very angry at that boy breaking bottles on the beach because they didn't know the consequences. But now that boy knew that breaking bottles on the beach led to severe injuries, for them to continue doing that would mean that grave consequences would happen to them. But for most people, when they know better, they do better. And I want you to ask this teenage part, now that they know better, are they going to do better? I want you to shake that teenager's hand. Tell them that you believe in them, that you trust them. You trust them to put things right, and you trust that they will be better in the future. That you're already proud of who they will be as a result of learning of the consequences of this. And if they seem to take pride in that label of being trusted, respected, believed in, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to switch perspectives, so you're now stepping into that teenage part that's been causing so much problems and trouble. Seems malicious, but perhaps was just ignorant. And if it feels like you would do things differently in the future, that you would make an effort to come up with solutions, to be more reasonable, to help rather than hinder, just let me know by nodding your head. That's it. I want you to imagine staying in that teenage body, feeling like you would make different choices now as both parts leave that teenage bedroom and see a version of you fast asleep on a sofa, and imagine climbing into you, taking that strength and confidence, but now wisdom and a sense of responsibility into that conscious version of you there asleep on that sofa. And when both parts are now back in you, feeling like they can work together to make things not exaggerated, not fabricated, but reasonable, clear, with an emphasis on solutions and making things better, just let me know by nodding your head. And then feel like you're returning to the present. Listening to my voice as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Get a sense that all parts here in the present, but I want you to feel a change has taken place. That change will mean that a lot of these problems were caused through amplification, exaggeration, and fabrication. And if you have confidence that they won't be like that anymore as a result of this intervention, this change, just let me know by nodding your head. That's it. Every teenager has life events that help them to mature, become wiser. That point where boys become men. And sometimes it's necessary. And I want you to get a sense that this is what's happened here. You are now stronger than you were before because you're wiser than you were before, giving you a sense of confidence that you have more resources to handle life's demands, starting to count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.